It's got to be 30 years ago, and it was night terrors. So started with night terrors, which at the time was amusing, if I'm honest. He would scream out in the night, or he would suddenly shout bizarre things, and he'd have me like changing the bed because he thought the Germans were in there. There was all sorts going on, and we actually went to the GP then. But of course, back 30 years ago, people didn't really understand Lewy body, and nobody understood that was maybe the start of it. And the GP said, "Wow, that's interesting, but not really a lot we can do." So off we went. I used to say to my friends, if he murders me one night, he's been building up to this. He's trying to build himself a bit of an alibi. Because he would punch me and he'd kick me. If we had water by the bed, that would go everywhere. There'd be all sorts going on, and that did go on for a long time. Your dad had night terrors as well, didn't he? So we just thought it was something that that ran in the family. Really took no notice. It's only in like more recently that we've realised that that was the start of it.
Some things I do, but not many. I can remember a period where I was going out the bedroom door, and she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to fight some Germans." I don't know why, because I find that things that I watch on the telly of a night affect how I sleep.
The difference between him when he's awake and him when he's asleep is just such a big void between the two. It's incredible. You couldn't meet a kinder, more gentle person, but Keith asleep's a different thing altogether. But he doesn't know he's doing it. He hasn't got a clue he's doing it.
No.
You're just like acting out, aren't you? Whatever is in your head, what you've watched on telly or whatever. I mean, it's funny now when I think back. We used to watch sports. You watch quite a lot of sport, don't you? And if you're watching somebody running, and he'd literally be running along with them, sitting at the side of me. Or if he was watching tennis, he'd be going for the ball, and basketball, he'd be going for. I was just saying, for God's sake, stop sitting there, get on there and play with them if that's what you want to do. Because now I think, oh, maybe that was Lewy body, maybe that was starting in the background, but it was quite amusing at the time.
Yeah.
It was horrendous because I was working then. I mean, I had to give up work 5.5 years ago to look after Keith. But yeah, I was a deputy manager of a supermarket, so I was working very strange hours. Sometimes I'd be leaving the house at 5 o'clock, and I might have been up 3 or 4 times in the night with him, or he might have been. If he's really performing, the problem is if somebody wakes you up with an ear-piercing scream, your adrenaline kicks in, they roll over and go straight back to sleep. And for the next hour, you're in fight mode, so there's no way you're going back to sleep. So yeah, I was pretty exhausted all the time, wasn't I? I used to worry about driving to and from work because sometimes I was driving quite long distances, and I'd be quite scared that I was tired. Because yeah, it was really, really challenging. That point was hard. And sometimes I'd go into work and say, wow, look at this bruise here, he's done this, or look at this bruise on my leg or whatever. People must have thought I was a battered wife.
Yeah.
But it was just the night terrors, it was genuinely what it was, wasn't it? But yeah, I could never relax. If we went on holiday, I had to look around the room and think about, what might he break? He would punch bedside tables, so I had to move them so that they weren't close enough that he could actually connect with them. So you're just on your guard all the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
About what might happen. I think it's routine is the main thing, isn't it? It's the fact that although you get up very late and you're very miffed if we have to get up early because we've got a hospital appointment or something, but getting up at a scheduled time, going to bed at a scheduled time, having those 2 hours in the day where he does have a sleep. Melatonin made a big difference. That certainly helped. And he's on mirabegron as well because he was constantly getting up to go to the toilet, weren't you? Whereas now with the mirabegron, is maybe once, possibly twice a night, isn't it? It'd be anything up to 8 times sometimes before that. So yeah, mirabegron made a big difference. Melatonin made a big difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel at the moment we get off quite lightly for now, but who knows, you know, what's to come. But yeah, I think those two and the routine is what's made the biggest difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.